He thought the approval email meant everything was finished. The application was approved, the flight was booked, the hotel was reserved, the suitcase was packed, and honestly, he believed America was waiting for him. But then, something shocking happened. The same country that approved his travel authorization refused to let him enter. One airport decision destroyed months of planning. Thousands of dollars were suddenly at risk, and his nightmare was only beginning. The traveler's name was Daniel, 33 years old, a marketing consultant, first trip to the United States, and honestly, this vacation meant everything to him. For years he had dreamed about visiting America, New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami. The places he had only seen in movies were finally becoming real. Months earlier, he applied for ESTA authorization. The application process felt simple. Personal details, passport information, travel questions, a payment, then waiting. A few days later, the approval arrived. Daniel felt relieved. The official authorization appeared valid. Everything seemed perfect. Most travelers believe approval means entry is guaranteed, but that assumption creates one of the biggest misunderstandings in international travel. And Daniel was about to learn that lesson the hard way. The flight to America lasted nearly 10 hours. He watched movies, listened to music, planned sightseeing routes. Everything felt exciting. The closer he came to America, the more excited he became. The plane finally landed. Passengers applauded softly. People grabbed their bags. Families smiled. Tourists prepared their phones. Everyone looked excited, including Daniel. At that moment, he believed the difficult part was over. He was wrong. Very wrong. The immigration hall looked enormous. Long lines stretched across the terminal. Bright lights reflected from polished floors. Officers stood behind counters checking documents. Everything looked serious, professional, and honestly, slightly intimidating. Daniel joined the line. Passport ready, documents organized, hotel bookings saved on his phone. Everything prepared, everything under control, or so he thought. Eventually, his turn arrived. The immigration officer looked at his passport, then at the computer, then back at Daniel. The officer asked a simple question. "What is the purpose of your visit?" "Tourism," Daniel answered confidently. The officer continued. "How long are you staying?" 10 days. The officer typed something, then asked another question. "Where will you stay?" Daniel showed hotel reservations. Everything still seemed normal, at least for a moment. Then the officer asked something unexpected. "Do you know anyone in the United States?" The question surprised Daniel, but he answered honestly. A college friend lived in Chicago. They planned meeting for dinner. Nothing unusual. Nothing suspicious. At least that's what Daniel believed. The officer continued typing, silently, slowly. And suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The officer stopped, looked carefully at the screen, then looked directly into Daniel's eyes. Those few seconds felt unusually long. Then came 4 words Daniel never expected. "Please step aside." His heart instantly dropped. Everything changed in one moment. The excitement disappeared. Confidence disappeared. Only uncertainty remained. Most travelers never imagine this moment. They imagine arrival photos, tourist attractions, restaurants, shopping. Not immigration problems, not airport questioning, not fear. But airport realities are very different from travel advertisements. Another officer approached, calm, professional, serious. "Please follow me." Daniel obeyed immediately. What else could he do? He entered a secondary inspection area, a room most tourists never expect to see. Several travelers sat quietly. Nobody smiled. Nobody looked comfortable. Everyone appeared nervous, and honestly, the room felt intimidating. Daniel sat down. His passport was taken. His phone remained in his pocket. Time suddenly felt slower. Minutes felt like hours, and uncertainty became emotionally exhausting. Most travelers never realize something important. ESTA approval allows you to travel to America. It does not guarantee admission. The final decision belongs to immigration officers at the airport. That reality surprises thousands of travelers every year, and now Daniel was experiencing it firsthand. The questioning started again. This time it felt different, more detailed, more intense. The officer reviewed his travel plans carefully. Hotel bookings, flight details, travel history, employment information, everything. Then came another unexpected question. "Why did you change your hotel reservations 3 times?" Daniel froze, because honestly, he changed hotels to save money. Nothing unusual, nothing illegal. Many tourists do the same thing. But suddenly, A normal travel decision looked suspicious. The officer continued. "Why is your itinerary changing?" Daniel tried explaining. Budget adjustments, better locations, price comparisons, reasonable explanations, at least in his opinion. But immigration officers see things differently. They are trained to identify inconsistencies, patterns, potential risks. Everything matters. And honestly, that realization terrified Daniel. The questions continued, one after another. No clear indication of what was wrong, no explanation, only uncertainty. Hours slowly passed. Daniel watched other travelers enter and leave the room. Some looked relieved. Others looked devastated. Nobody spoke much. The atmosphere remained tense. And honestly, fear started controlling his thoughts. Would he be denied entry? Would he lose his vacation? Would he lose thousands of dollars? Would he be deported? Questions filled his mind endlessly. Then something shocking happened. The officer asked for access to his phone. Daniel hesitated briefly, then complied. Messages, travel plans, emails, reservations. Everything suddenly felt personal, and honestly, he felt exposed. Most travelers never think about this possibility. They focus on flights and hotels, not secondary inspections, not detailed questioning, not immigration scrutiny. But these situations happen more often than many people realize, especially when inconsistencies appear. Eventually, another officer joined the conversation. The questions became even more detailed. Employment, income, travel funding, future plans. Every answer felt important, every word mattered. And honestly, Daniel became increasingly nervous. The real problem started later. The officers discovered information that raised additional concerns. Nothing criminal, nothing illegal, but enough to trigger more scrutiny. A previous extended stay in another country. Several last-minute booking changes. Limited financial documentation. Individually, these details seemed harmless. Together, they created questions. And questions create delays. Delays create uncertainty. And uncertainty creates fear. Most travelers underestimate how stressful immigration screening can become, especially when they believe everything is already approved. Daniel slowly realized something painful. Approval and admission are not the same thing. Many people never learn that distinction until it is too late. Hours passed. His phone battery nearly died. His family waited for updates. Friends expected arrival messages. Nobody knew what was happening. And honestly, Daniel felt completely isolated. Then came another surprise. The officer reviewed his travel insurance, coverage limits, emergency protection, medical benefits, everything. That moment introduced another important lesson. Many travelers underestimate travel insurance until something goes wrong. Hospital bills in America can become extremely expensive. Emergency rooms, ambulance rides, medical testing, everything costs money, serious money. And immigration officers sometimes review whether travelers can manage emergencies financially. That reality surprises many tourists. Eventually, the officer returned, documents in hand, expression unreadable. Daniel's heartbeat increased immediately, because honestly, he believed his trip was ending. The officer sat down, reviewed several notes, then delivered the decision. Entry denied. Just 2 words. 2 devastating words. Daniel felt frozen, completely frozen. He struggled to process what he had heard. Months of planning, thousands of dollars, dream destinations, everything disappeared instantly. The officer explained calmly. ESTA approval did not guarantee entry. The officer determined admission requirements were not sufficiently satisfied. Therefore, entry would not be granted. The decision was final. And honestly, those words felt devastating. Most travelers never imagine this outcome. They imagine delayed flights, lost luggage, hotel problems, not entry denial, not immediate return flights, not canceled vacations. But unfortunately, these situations happen. The financial consequences became clear quickly. Unused hotel reservations, lost activities, transportation costs, travel expenses. Everything suddenly became a financial burden. And honestly, the losses felt painful, very painful. Daniel eventually boarded a return flight. Not as a tourist beginning a dream vacation, but as a traveler returning home. The emotional difference felt enormous. The same airplane, the same airport, completely different emotions. No excitement remained, only disappointment and reflection. Hours later, he was heading back home. trying to understand everything that happened, trying to learn from it, trying to move forward. That experience changed him permanently. Today he researches every travel requirement carefully, every document, every regulation, every policy, everything. Because one airport experience taught him a lesson he will never forget. Preparation matters, understanding matters, and assumptions can become very expensive. Most travelers focus on approval. Smart travelers focus on preparation. Those are not the same thing. Before traveling to America, understand an important reality. ESTA approval allows travel. It does not guarantee entry. The final decision belongs to immigration officers, always, and that decision can change everything. Travel should create memories, not airport nightmares, not financial losses, not emotional stress. That is why awareness matters, preparation matters, and education matters. Because one misunderstanding can destroy an entire trip before it even begins. Disclaimer: this story is presented for travel awareness and educational purposes. Immigration decisions are made individually based on specific circumstances, documentation, and applicable laws. ESTA approval does not guarantee admission to the United States. Always verify official travel requirements through government sources before traveling. Subscribe to Global Policy Guide for travel safety, visa updates, insurance awareness, and real travel risk stories.